Hello learners, welcome to today's session. Today we will be discussing about land degradation in India. What is land degradation? How does it occur? What are the consequences? And what measures can be taken so as to prevent the land from getting degraded and also to conserve this important natural resource. Learners, land is a resource. Unlike other resources, this is finite. It doesn't increase. It is as such. And just as we know about all other natural resources, the same is the case with land because due to natural as well as the anthropogenic causes, the quality of the land is not as it was earlier. We must recognize this fact that land is in fact the basis, or you can say the source of all other natural resources. Where do you find forests? They are on land. Where do you find minerals? They are beneath the surface of the earth. Same is the case with water. So, we can say that land is utmost important natural resource. From the socio-economic point of view also, you must be knowing that most of the civilizations have developed and flourished on land. Whether it is near to the water resources, but land has always been the source of the development of mankind from social point of view. If we say that land supports agriculture, but then this is also true that agriculture united the societies. From the nomadic society to the agriculture and to the present era, we find that there has always been changes in the land use which have framed the future course of civilization. Economically also, land is very important. You can tell about the development of a country or a region on the basis of the utilization of its land resources. How minerals are extracted, how land use planning is done so as to obtain the maximum benefit out of those resources. And therefore, land use planning is something which has been accorded the highest importance when it comes to conservation of land or sustainable management. Tourism again is an economic aspect which tells us about the utilization of land. And of course, soil or land, it has also got an ecological value. It is home to several microscopic creatures. We ourselves live on land. The biogeochemical cycling and the flow of energy in various ecosystems is because that they are supported by the land resources. So learners, you must have understood now that land resources have got economical, social as well as the ecological importance. We cannot deny the utility of the land as a resource, and therefore the problem which is occurring at present, like the degradation of the land, it is something which is very serious and we must do something so as to conserve this important natural resource. You must be confused between land and soil. These two terms are used interchangeably. Let me explain you the difference between the soil and the land. Soil is the physical component or you can say the abiotic component of the environment which supports plant life, which hosts microscopic bacteria and fungi and other organisms. But when I say land, it is combined resources, which includes soil as a part, but also the terrain, the water resources in the form of the soil moisture or in the form of the underground water. This is all equal to land. According to UN, land is defined as a delineable area of Earth's terrestrial surface which encompasses all attributes of the biosphere immediately above or below this surface. Is the land uniform? Look around. Look at your surroundings. Look at the map of the world and you can see that the landform is not uniform. At one end, we have the major landforms in the form of mountains, in the form of hills, plateaus, plains. This is the categories of the land which we have known so far. And every country, every region of the world is bestowed with major as well as the minor landforms. We know the importance of mountains for supporting the ecology. Similarly, the plains which are important for agriculture, plateaus which host the mineral resources, and likewise there are minor landforms also in the form of valleys, in the form of canyons, in the form of buttes, in the form of basins. These are the small landforms which are also having regional, local importance in influencing the ecology of a place. The worrisome part is that the issue of land degradation or land pollution is affecting both the minor as well as the major landforms. How much of it do we have? Mountains, plains and plateaus. If I talk about India, about 43% of the land in our country is plain, which is used mostly for agriculture or industry. Around 30% of the terrain in India is occupied by mountains and hills, and only 27% of it is the plateau region. So, most of the landform in our country is the major landform comprising of the plain areas. Condition of the plain areas where we have established most of the industries, where the agricultural operations are being carried out, we must do something for the conservation of land, particularly in this area, because more than 50% of the workforce in our country is employed in agriculture and the elite sectors, which has more than 40% of the land. So, if we say that land is getting degraded and we want to improve it, we have to take some measures, then certainly we have to relook and redesign our plains which are at present, you can say, influenced by the agriculture and industrial operations. You must have come across several terms related to land. So, before I explain you what are the causes of land degradation, there are certain terms which must be clear to you. The term soil and land has been clear. Land is encompassing the terrain, the water, the geography, the area, also the socio-economic use of that particular place, that is the land. Similarly, we use land quality, land area, land cover, land use. This is, these are some of the terms which which come into play when we study more about the quality of the land and the measures to protect it. What is land quality? Land quality refers to the physical, chemical and the biological properties of the land. The ideal properties of the land which would convey the meaning whether the land is of a good quality or a poor quality. Presence of too many chemicals in the soil or having lack of soil moisture in a soil may indicate that the soil is of poor quality. But on the other hand, the self-regenerating soil having lot of you can say biotic life in it, we can say that the land is of good quality. Land area is the total area of the land, total area comprising of the mountains, hills and agricultural land, or you can say wastelands, whatever it is, the total calculation of the land area. And land cover is actually observable part, which you can observe whether it is a grassland or it is a forest land, what kind of land it is. That attributes relate to the land cover, and land use is how we are using the land, whether we are using it for infrastructure development, whether we are using it for dam construction, whether we are using it for agriculture or for industries. That explains the meaning of land use, and in this context we always say that there should be sustainable land use planning so that we can plan our lands for the coming decades. This type of planning is not done just for 1 or 2 years, but we have to look at the needs of the people which will be after say 10 years or 20 years from now. Therefore, it is very important to conduct land use planning for the proper allocation of the resources and mitigation of environmental effects. So, what do you mean by land degradation? As simple as that, the decline in the quality of the land. We were talking about land quality which pertains to the physical, chemical and the biological properties of the land. So, because of human induced changes, if there is a decline in the quality of the land due to changes in the biophysical environment, we say that the land is degraded. If there is alteration in the properties of the land, it is land degradation. Or the lowering of the potential capability of the land to either provide goods or perform the ecological services in the desired manner, that is also called land degradation. Let us look at some of the figures, the scary figures which we have before us. We have 18% of the global population but only 2.4% of the global land mass. Land degradation is affecting 30% of all land in India. And if you look at the world scene, around 75% of the earth's land is degraded as of now, and it is predicted that by 2050, if the present practices continue, 90% of the land will be degraded. And this will have an adverse effect on the agriculture and allied activities. You must know about the soil refugees, that there will be 1 billion soil refugees by 2050. Those people who will have to take up some other occupation, or those who will have to quit farming, or those who have to move from some other places because of the changes which will take place in the land and its supporting abilities. We will have land refuges, people leaving the land, migrating, and there will be social and as well as the economical consequences of such trends which will be seen in future. We very well know about the climate change, but learners, you must understand that one of the potential causes of climate change is the degradation of the soil. 3 times more carbon dioxide is stored by the soil as compared to the plants. So, when you degrade the soil, these carbon dioxide is not absorbed and it is being released, which is one of the important greenhouse gas. And since 1850, if we see whatever the emissions are happening and changes in the climate are taking place, 35% of it is because of the changes in the land use. Land use changes have taken place. Farms which were allocated for forest are being now converted into agricultural lands, so as to feed the ever growing population. So, if we divide the categories of land degradation, they fall into basically 3 types: physical and chemical processes, environmental events and behavioral issues. When I say physical and the chemical process, that means soil erosion taking place. Carrying away of the topsoil because of the action of water or wind, that is the soil erosion. Or because of faulty agricultural practices, because of too much of tillage, because of too much of plowing, because of loosening of the soil, because of construction activities being taken place. These are some of the physical and the chemical processes. So, high blowing, fast blowing winds, that results into the physical process of land degradation, where the soil is carried away from one place to another by the action of water or wind. Then environmental events are also responsible. For example, floods taking place, droughts occurring, that means lack of rainfall taking place, tsunamis coming, landslides occurring, forest fires taking place. These are some of the natural environmental events which are taking place, which reduce the quality of the land. And of course, man-made or the behavioral issues are the most common, which include usage of chemical fertilizers and pesticides in agriculture, following wrong practices, throwing away of waste on land, or you can say landfills which are already running beyond their capabilities, which are running beyond their capacities, urbanization, monocultures. So, these are some of our behavioral issues which are contributing towards degradation of the land. So, there are anthropogenic factors which we were discussing in the heading of behavioral issues. We have agriculture and related activities. What you are growing, how you are growing, what kind of inputs we are providing, and thanks to the subsidies which we are getting, because of which excess groundwater exploitation is taking place, excess of pesticides and chemical inputs are being fed into our agricultural lands. This is something which is becoming very, very detrimental for the quality of the land. Similarly, livestock related activities. Because of increase in demand for animal and animal based products, there are large areas which are now devoted for the growth of livestock. Grazing is something which is very important factor. Then there are biotic pressures, for example, for fuel wood, for fodder. The plantations are taking place which reduce the normal growth of the plants at those places. And as I said, mining, infrastructure development, construction activities taking place, urbanization, industrialization, increase in population are some of the you can say changes because of anthropogenic activities that the quality of the land is degraded. So, it takes various forms. One heading that is the land degradation encompasses various subparts with it. Soil erosion, that is movement of the topsoil or carrying away of the topsoil because of water or wind. It is also a form of land degradation and happens more quickly as the deforestation takes place. As we have cutting down of trees and poor agriculture practices. Similarly, desertification, which means that extension of the desert areas or prevalence of desert like conditions in any area, that is very high temperatures, very low precipitations, very high wind speed of the winds. That is, these are some of the properties, or you can say features of desertification, and it is also enhanced by human induced changes. Because of climate change, because of change in precipitation patterns, more and more areas are now covered under deserts, which is referred to as the process of desertification. Similarly, loss of the natural tendency of the soil to renew itself, loss of the fertility of the soil, because now it is being dependent so much on the external inputs like fertilizers and chemicals, which are applied by the farmers in their fields. For example, changes in the physical and the chemical properties of the soil, like addition of fertilizers, pesticides, what do? They reduce the fertility of the soil, and it is also because of overwatering of the plants, because of excess irrigation, and we are now growing crops which are water intensive. They need more water. Most of the hybrid plants and grains which are growing on our farms today, they need more water, and therefore it also results into the acidity and alkalinity of the soils. And it also, the way we practice agriculture, the way we treat our land resources is responsible for the deterioration of the structure of the soil. So, different properties of the soil, different types of the soil, they get degraded, and ultimately it becomes one of the important factors for the degradation of the land. What happens when land is degraded? Yes, of course, we all are directly or indirectly affected, because the land which does not support any vegetation is not good for agriculture. And because of the growing population, we will be having around 9.7 billion population by 2050. How we are going to feed them? Because the land resources are not expanding at the rate at which the population is expanding. So, there is dearth of land, because we need land for so many things apart from agriculture. So, there is a loss of, there is increased chances of food insecurity. Climate change is happening because of the changes in the land use, as we have studied that since 1850, most of the emissions are attributed because of the changes in the land use. If the plants are not supported by the soil or the land, obviously there is decline in the biotic, or you can say the biodiversity of the region. So, the natural wealth in the form of the diverse flora and fauna in the environment is affected because of the changes in the soil or the changes in the land use which is taking place at present. And as I said, there are socio-economic consequences also. People not able to live properly, people migrating, crimes increasing, urbanization taking place, theft occurring. This is all because of the potential of the land which is being lost because of so many factors as now we have seen. So, there can be several measures to check land degradation. Treating land as a resource is something which is very, very important. Conserving the soil in agriculture and elsewhere also through proper interventions in the field like crop rotation or proper irrigation like drip irrigation, dew point irrigation. These are some of the important steps. Promoting local varieties of crops which do not require much chemical inputs. You can say promoting the local farmers, we can say, which have small land holdings, so they can use their own traditional methods of farming they can carry out. So, all these measures are required to conserve the soil and to protect the quality of the land in a long run. So, we can conclude that land is a natural resource which supports various life forms. Soil or land, it includes water, microbes, plants, everything is supported. Our survival depends on the land. But today, the land is getting degraded because of natural as well as the anthropogenic causes. So, because of this thing, the physical and the chemical properties are changed, and to conserve this important natural resource, proper information, involvement, empowerment and facilitation is very necessary from all the stakeholders so as to see that we are able to conserve this very important natural resource. Thank you.